An example of a violation of freedom of speech, I recently learned from one of my kids in high school that a word that I regularly use, that I think is a regular word.
That was a MAGA mom showing us that Donald Trump's actions and the actions of MAGA and that movement has a way of, trickle down economics doesn't work, but trickle down bigotry does. And I'm going to show you that clip in just a second, but I have some really startling news that just came out. And I'm sorry, but we have to talk about the bad stuff here. I wish there was good news to be talking about, but we have to stay vigilant. The only way you can fight fascism is with the truth. And so we have to make sure that we stare the truth straight in the face. And with that in mind, please, if you're liking this video, hit like and subscribe, because that is the only way that we can get this in front of more folks who are in the pro-democracy movement. Thank you so much. But Donald Trump, NBC is reporting, is talking about, through his transition team, is going to be taking a court-martial to any of the army members who were involved in the Afghanistan withdrawal. Let's listen.
Officers working on the transition are considering creating a commission to investigate the withdrawal, including gathering information about who was directly involved in the decision-making for the military, how it was carried out, and whether military leaders could be eligible for charges as serious as treason. Matt Flynn, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Counter-Narcotics and Global Threats, is helping lead the effort, sources say.
Yeah, so this is part of a number of efforts by the Trump transition team that we're learning more and more about since the election. Some of their efforts to go after members of the military. We've heard a lot about how people like Pete Hegseth, who's the nominee to be Secretary of Defense, and other senior people in the national security space around President-elect Donald Trump, have said that they want to look into generals and admirals, senior military leaders who have been involved in diversity efforts at the Pentagon and throughout the military. But this is a different angle to their efforts at the current military leadership in the Pentagon, Melissa. Specifically, they want to examine the 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, it's no surprise Republicans have been extremely critical of the way that withdrawal was carried out in Afghanistan. So this includes individuals who are already retired, like retired Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, but also some current generals who were involved in the decision-making process, both on the ground in Afghanistan in the summer of 2021 and making the decisions back in the Pentagon. But as individuals were carrying out the orders of the Commander-in-Chief, President Joe Biden. So the notion that they would be able to make a treason charge here seems a little bit far-fetched at this point. But one of the officials who we spoke with as part of our reporting here said that what they want to do is make an example.
All right. So, I mean, between this and I have a couple of thoughts. Between this and between the fact that Donald Trump has put forth RFK Jr. for HHS and he's putting through Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, everything Donald Trump campaigned on, he's going to do. He's going to try to do. Political retribution. Liz Cheney is more likely than not going to be found to be guilty of something. IRS is going to start auditing Donald Trump's enemies, perceived or real. And he's going to have a court-martial against members of our own army who put forth, as someone has mentioned, withdrawal that was his policy. It was his policy withdrawal. It was just that Biden did it. Donald Trump just never got a chance to get around to it. So, folks, this is a scary moment we're in, and we have to make sure that we are just clear-eyed about what is happening. I really wish I had more ideas of what we could do, but unfortunately, I don't think there's much we can do right now other than paying attention. The way that authoritarians derive their power is by making politics pervasive, so pervasive that you just start to shut it out. Donald Trump has been an expert at that. I know so many people don't want to watch and listen anymore, and I totally get it. But even the way the media is covering this, they're acting like this is not normal. This is not normal. And so I think even if you're just aware of the fact that this is not normal, then you are on the side of the good guys, and you're more likely than not, when voting time comes around, when it's time to speak to your friends and your family, you're able to better talk to them about the things that matter. And so the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because, you know, as I said in the beginning, trickle-down economics does not work. Trickle-down bigotry does. And people learn how to act by the people at the top. And I was so thrown off when I saw this clip from this woman talking about a word that she wanted her child to use in school. Here's the clip.
I am totally supportive in creating a great place for everybody, but I just think we have to be cautious that it's not going to violate religious freedoms and freedom of speech. An example of a violation of freedom of speech, I recently learned from one of my kids in high school that a word that I regularly use, that I think is a regular word, is apparently on the don't use list. So I learned that from my high school children, which is the word retard. Retard means slow. It's in the dictionary. It literally, you know, retardant, slows down fires. And I did not realize, no, you cannot control my speech, Mr. Rafiel. So you cannot. I can use the word retard. Okay? So this is one of those violations of freedom of speech that really concern me. So I really think there needs to be a lot more caution placed on specific parameters so that you respect those other constitutional rights. Thank you.
So I don't know, man. I mean, you do not have the constitutional right to, she wants her son to be able to say the R word at students. You do not have the right, you have the constitutional right to say whatever you want. You do not have the constitutional right to not face consequences for saying that. And certainly at school, they're allowed to say, if you want the right to attend this school, then you have to act within certain parameters. Your rights stop when they start infringing on anyone else's, period. And I just want to end with this because I was just really taken aback. And this is where we are. And again, we have to just keep paying attention. We have to keep paying attention. And I am just doing so much reading, so I will hopefully have more and more ideas of how we can counteract all this stuff. But here's Steve Bannon and Mike Flynn talking about how they want to go after MSNBC for what they say are crimes against Trump. And I'll end it there, and I'll see you next time. And if you'd like this video, please hit like in the video. Again, subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you made it to the end, leave a blue heart, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
It's at MSNBC. By the way, a couple of reporters last night called me after a couple of my rants and said, hey, we're getting text messages from a lot of the producers, particularly younger producers at MSNBC. And they're saying, is Bannon serious or is he just being Bannon? Right? I am 100% serious. You know what you did with various people out there you had on shows. You are part of a vast criminal conspiracy against President Trump. And that is going to be drilled down. So here's what I tell you. Call your mom and dad. Sit down with a lawyer. You might want to do it this weekend. Walk through everything that you've done on these shows over the last couple of years. Okay? Walk through everything. And, hey, if the lawyer says you got nothing to worry about, then, hey, you know, but get some smart lawyers. But preserve your documents. Preserve your documents. Don't be shredding anything. Go ahead.